Hi, my name is Greg Dixon, the Kartra Whisperer, and today I'm going to talk to you about a very common series of actions that you will do in your Kartra account. And I'm going to build an event registration funnel, Kartra. So I'm later today or tomorrow, I'm going to run through this with a client. I've set up for her to book people to go on hikes in Australia, and but today I'm going to use an example of how people can register for this webinar series, her masterclass or workshop series. Workshop series is probably the best term about it. But it's very meta, talking about signing up for this very thing that will be the first thing you see. So here, they're the main components of any kind of registration. It's a landing page, some kind of opt-in, and then a thank you page, and often a welcome email, almost always a welcome email once you've registered for whatever it is you've registered. And because this is an event, I'm also going to schedule a broadcast of a reminder. So there are other ways of doing this in Kartra. One is to set it up with a calendar, but that's quite a bit more complex, and also there are some challenges with that too. So this is a simple model. Basically, get a landing page, an opt-in, a thank you page, welcome email, and one or more reminders, and that can be cloned and reproduced to do a great number of things. So first of all, I'm going to share my Kartra login. We're gonna assume this may be the first time you've ever logged into Kartra, and we're going to just start from scratch. And this is the first thing you do in Kartra. This is not a bad thing to do. So here we go. So here's the login for Kartra. You'll ask for your username and password. And then when you log in here, no, I can't log in there. I got to log in the actual screen. There we go. So here, this is what you'll see in your Kartra account. At the top here, this is the default, and it shows you various activities recently. An email gone out, how many leads you got, visitors to pages. Right now, I'm in the middle of promoting a concert, a cancer benefit concert. I have a client and a couple of things going on in here. I have some scheduled meetings. One of them happened today, so I've got a few coming up. What we need to do, on the left-hand side, there are these main sections here. This is what makes Kartra so powerful. Is the products is where you define something that you're selling, maybe a subscription, maybe a product, maybe a physical product, a book, any of those things. And here, my communications includes emails like sequences and broadcasts. We're going to use that later here. My pages is where you define the login pages, and my forms are where you define an opt-in form. There are a bunch of other things: memberships, videos, calendars, surveys, help desks, campaigns, integrations, my things, all these things. We're going to get in this workshop series. We will cover all of these other sections, but today we're going to do this registration funnel, which is going to involve creating a couple of pages, creating a form, and then a reminder. So let's start with the pages. So I have quite a few. This is not my first rodeo here. So I have hundreds of pages in here in various categories. So we're going to create a new page, and we're going to create one from scratch. There's a green button on the right-hand side. Most things in Kartra have a big green button on the right-hand side to start, and there are whole piles of things. If you've already created things in the past, a bunch of templates, things to choose, so you can get a jump start on things. what I'm going to do, and there's even one for a webinar registration form, checkout pages, all sorts of things. But I'm just going to show you how to build ones from scratch. In some ways, it's better to know how to build something from scratch in Kartra. So for one, it's not as overwhelming as you might think, and the other is if you know how to do that, then you'll know how to modify some of the pre-built templates better too. So here we're going to just launch the builder, and I'm going to hear register for the Kartra workshop series. And okay, and I'm going to category, I'm going to choose Greg Dixon because it's something part of my promotion here. And I just selected the Greg Dixon site, which is gregdixon.net. Anyway, so here we go. Helps if you can type. This is really for internal use. That's not something anybody sees in public. And here we go. So Kartra has a tutorial for most things that runs through, and I never shut these off. Once you shut them off, they won't show again. And it's worthwhile when you're first learning to go through all these things, so at least you understand what's there and what the options are. One thing that people have a challenge with Kartra is there are a lot of options. I sometimes describe it as having a shipping container full of Lego parts that you could put together. And the good thing about that is you can build a tremendous amount of items. The downside is you have a lot of options and you have to make choices. So here, we're going to simple thing. So you need a section. First of all, you need a section to go here. And I'm just going to drag an empty section. Basically, we've got an empty canvas, and that's a thing. And then the next thing is it says it wants to drag a column. So that's under components, and I'm going to just drag a column here that's going to create something that's 50% or 100% across. This one's not going to take the full screen. Some of the other templates will be full screen. This will use a portion. It's really designed to look good on most desktops and also on phones and tablets. So the next thing here is to drag in another component, and you can use various components here, columns to lay things out. I tend to go to using boxes here, and so if you put in a box, I'm going to put a 2-column box in here. I find this works for most things, especially a simple landing page that we're going to create. And then you have here, we got a component for the left side and a component for the right side. So one of the things I will do is I'm going to drop in a graphic. I took some time to create a graphic for this. I got a background image from Pixabay, and then I used Photoshop to create a graphic. So let's see where we're at here. As you can see, there are a lot of different things, a lot of different components that you can use to build your pages. And so here we go. So with most things in Kartra, when you hold your mouse over top of it, it gives you a couple options. This little thing here is for relocating. Like I can drag it over here and put it on the other side, or I can drag it back. And this is for resizing the image, and this is for cloning. Clone's really useful. You'll be cloning a lot of stuff. You get things you like, you get it styles you want, and then you just copy it and edit. and then the edit style here is what applies to this. So we're going to select an image. I've been working on that cancer concert. These are logos for the various sponsors for it, which I've been putting in, and then some banner images. And I created one for this particular workshop that we're creating, and I'm going to upload it from here. It's called Building Your Online Business with Kartra Workshop Series. So here you make sure it's selected, and then confirm, and then here this is a little label for the graphic. And it's a good practice to type something in here that's an alt tag in website lingo. That's so for people who are visually impaired can get a representation of what's on the screen, so it will tell you what's there. Okay, there we go. There's the graphic. While we're here, the style, this doesn't hurt to set the style to be centered. So that way, if we adjust the size here, say make it 90%, then it's going to be centered. Otherwise, it will be aligned, defaults to aligned left, and you can align it right. It's an important kind of thing to do. And so the next section here is where you would put, you could put a text description there, and that's what I'm going to do next. Again, a lot of these things are you would do it to taste. You have almost infinite possibilities, but I'm going to do something really simple here. It says, and I'm just going to okay. So it popped in a bunch of default text in Latin here, and here when you hold the mouse over top of this text object here, there's a text editor P, the P there. And the first thing I do is I have a preference for this font called Laura, and I usually make sure that the text is black. I think it defaults to kind of a dark gray. I prefer to make it black to be readable. And then I'm just going to type in some stuff here. Workshop. And again, there are a bunch of things that we can drag in with fancy lists, fancy graphics, but I'm just for the sake of this, I'm just going to make this simple. You will turn to build landing page. It's like lightning. There we go. funnel, email, expenses, email, podcast, video, posting, podcast. And affiliate programs. Anyway, you get the idea. So again, it's just like to some degree, it's like using a word processing program like Word or Pages or something like that. You can boldface, change the font size, change the type, all that kind of thing. So this little list didn't use the font that I preferred. I'm going to change it to Laura and make sure it's black. So, and then I'm just going to, you will receive invitation to future workshops and okay, so that's simple enough. And the next stage here, again, I'm just doing something really quick. You can make that as fussy as you want it to go. I'm going to add a button. We'll need a button here, and there are a number of button styles. I tend to go with this style here, which is kind of rounded, and there again. If you edit this little pencil, it gives the style. And we go in the style. We can choose to center the button. And let's choose a different color. I'm going to do maybe this here. It's mostly sort of a darker blue. And one of the tabs. This is a common thing in Kartra. There are a number of tabs at the top. That was the style. And then the text. Let's say register now. And I'm going to put my favorite font in here. Okay, so that's just the basics of this, and I'm just going to show you some styling things here. This little sprocket over in the side is for the section. You can have any number of sections on a page, and this is one. So I'm going to do the background, and again, you can scroll through with whatever you might have, your own background. You can also look for I'm just going to pick this guy here. This is the first one that come up, and you also it has the images are more photographic. The icons are more vector art, that kind of thing, cartoony type thing. But I'm just going to put sky in the background. Oh, I missed it. Okay. There we go. All right. So the other thing I do is, this is the box. this here, that's the frame is the box where the two things are in. It defaulted to being kind of an off white, a gray. So I almost always will make it white. I've got you can drag this little color bar up to the top where it shows 255, that's completely white. And you can either have it partially translucent or white. We'll just leave it fully 100% opaque white for now. And there we go. So that's a very simple, very simple, a very simple landing page. And a good habit is actually, while you're here, is to the SEO pages. Basically, these are the things that search engines see. Going business. So there are two places you can put a title in here. You can put the title, and then you can put the description. If you've ever used Hey Meta, you can check. I always check with Hey Meta to see what it looks like. And it's one of these things that it's a good thing to get in the habit of always checking. Otherwise, especially if you start copying, Google will see your pages having a subject matter completely different than what you intended. Here with the image, we can choose this one here. This kind of ensures that when you list it on LinkedIn or Facebook or other media, it's going to show that badge. Then I'm going to apply that. And then here, this is a very simple page, but I'm going to just save it, publish live. And here you can, right now, it defaults to a very ugly page link, which is my Kartra account name, kartra.com page. But if you have a custom domain attached to your account, you can set it. I'm going to set it to gregdixon.net, and then there we go. Building your online business. It's a much more user-friendly, human-friendly link that you can just copy and paste in order to send somewhere. Okay, and that's good. We're saved. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get saved to the internet. I'm going to go back to the dashboard. And you may recall I said in this series is that we need a landing page, and then we need a thank you page, and to complete the process. And when you're defining why this is important to do this now rather than later, is when you're defining the opt-in form or the product configuration, you need a thank you page. So this, in order to be really simple here, I'm just going to clone this page. And then I just call this thanks. I'll just put thanks there. Kartra doesn't generally give you a lot of characters for this. I don't know why they're so stingy, but there we go. 40 characters. It's not a lot of characters. And again, we go through the tutorial. You'll go through all the options. And it's worthwhile reading these sections when you're going through. Okay, so here we have it. And then I'm just going to say, I'm going to edit this. I'm just going to make this into a thank you note. It says, thanks for registering for the series. And then we don't need this other stuff here. And I'm going to move this button over here. Just could excuse to demonstrate the drag. So what will happen is it'll show you different places where it's possible to drop it, and it has to show green, else it'll ignore what you're doing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this into an appointment link here. So it says chat with Greg Dixon, and I'm going to change the icon to a calendar. And the link here is you have tons and tons of options. Link to other pages, scroll to a section on the page, download a file. What I'm going to go do right now is link to a Kartra calendar, and I'll look for my calendar, Greg's calendar, and I'm just going to use the pop-up overlay, and there. So we're good for that. And it's going to just for the sake of being complete, we'll look at the settings here and see what's copied over. I'm just going to say thanks for. I'm going to run out of character. This is not nearly as critical because nobody's ever going to, you're not going to send people to this page directly. It's only going to go there after they've registered. So I'm not going to fuss with it at the moment here. You always have to apply. That's one of the things. If you don't apply, your changes will be lost. And then I'm going to just publish this live. And again, it's going to come up with this really ugly URL, and I'll map it to Greg Dixon, and then I'll just call it business workshop. Something like that, and close, and we'll get out here. So the next thing, so we now have our pages. We now have our landing page and our registration or the thank you page set up. So the next thing is to actually sign up for the event, and you do this under forms. Okay, and we're going to create a new one. And we're going to call this I mentioned earlier that I built something like this for signing up for a hike for a client in Australia, and in that case, there's one for each hike, and we'll be cloning each one for each new hike. But here we're really having a single opt-in for this, and then we're going to each time there's a new webinar series, we're going to send them an email reminder. So the default is just the first name and email. You may have a different philosophy about this. I always want to have first name, last name, and I'll add phone number. Kartra is capable of sending out text messages. So, and I've got this set up to use the Twilio to send out text messages. So I'll at least make it optional for them to fill in the phone number. Part of it is they don't have to, they're not forced to, but it's much more useful for you tracking potential clients and members if you have first name and last name, and the phone number is a good way of handling it. The other option here, you can put any number of custom fields, ask them specific things, but one thing I'm going to suggest here is I'm going to do a single opt-in, which means that they don't have to confirm their opt-in, but I'm going to add a CAPTCHA, and that's just people who are going to have to type in this code that they see, E60TS, in order to submit the form. And that just helps prevent a lot of spam. So here, to the save, so we've got that's the email. Those are the fields that this form's going to ask for. And then the single opt-in. The double opt-in is that you would send them an email, and then they would have to find it in their email and say, click a link. I'm using the CAPTCHA instead of that, just to streamline the whole process. Okay. And here's the success page. This is why we needed to create the thank you page. So it's asking where is this going to go, and they sign up here. And this one here, register for the Kartra workshop. Thanks. I think that's what we called it. As you go, it's good to be consistent with your naming and maybe even take some notes about what you called it. I always write things out in full. Some people like writing 3-letter acronyms and stuff, which makes it really hard for me to track what people have done and what they were thinking if I'm working in their account. So here, okay, this is going to send a welcome message, and this is I highly suggest doing this. And I'm going to put you have to have a real email address. You can't use Gmail or Yahoo. Kartra won't allow you to send things that coming from a free email account. It has to be a company registered email. So I've got Greg Dixon at sharedbusiness.com, and here we go. And then this is the message, the composer for what the email will be, the welcome email to go out. It defaults to the basic, which is we'll just leave it for now. There are some things in the advanced. It allows you their budget design templates, and you can have ones from previous configurations, and you can reuse them. But for now, I'm just going to use just a super basic one here, and it's more or less like creating an email in your Gmail or anything else. It says, and I'm just going to say thanks for workshop series. And then I'm going to say, what was I say? Okay, get some Kartra of this word. And here on these dynamic variables, so you can put first name, last name, email address, all sorts of things in here. But right now, for the simple email, I'm just going to personalize it. I'm going to copy this. And it says, hello. And then that's going to substitute the person's name, Bob, Don, Martha, whatever it is. I'm just going to copy. And you will receive notices for the next workshop. Then okay, Dixon. Here where you can put what kind of signature information. You can make these into you can use this just like any kind of editor. You can edit this and make it into a link. I always let's see here. We'll just copy that breakdixon.net, make it a link, choose it to be your link, and put that in there, and then same with that. I'm a copy and paste person. Anyway, so here we go. There's a option here to send a test email, and I always suggest sending a test email because there's always going to be things that could be better, you can improve, and you might make a spelling error, any of those things. The more you check, the better for you to find the problems and your recipients to find the problems. So here, let's assume that all of this is okay. I'm going to press save. I'm going to say if this was in the context of, I'm going to go back here, in the context of the hike for the Australian hiking client. Here I would have the time for the next hike, and also a link to a map where everybody's going to meet. So the basic location, the meeting location, and the time. and that's in the original welcome email, and then it'll also be in reminders. But for here, we're really just getting people to sign into this registration, and we'll send the details separately. Okay, so that's all good. So here's a section that you can totally ignore, but one of the magic of Kartra is tagging, so you can keep track of everything that anybody ever did. And so I'm going to create a new one here for building your online business, and I'm just going to copy into the description here. And the category, I'm just going to I just tend to categorize it by client more than function, but it's up to you to choose what you want to do. I'm going to add it there. You can add any number of tags, and I generally always have people subscribe to a list, and I'm going to subscribe to Greg Dixon Writing. There's also a Kartra. Yeah, no, Greg Dixon Writing. That's good. I have a Kartra concierge list, but the Greg Dixon Writing is more general purpose. And here are sequences. Like, you could get a training sequence that they sign up. A sequence is something that goes out, maybe once a day or once every week or something. And then automations are all sorts of things. If you want to give them access to a memberships area, any of those kinds of things, for example. And for the sake of this, I will give them access to lead fills out this form. Yes. Then we're going to give them grant access to a membership. Select the membership. Kartra Whisperer programs. Probably going to change this. I'm going to actually have a specific membership for this, but for now, for the sake of illustration, we'll put it there. This set of automations can be really complex. You can, somebody cancels or whatever, you can add and remove things. Very, very sophisticated. But for now, we'll just do something fairly simple here. And I think that's good. And here it's asking, this is a final screen, so they're going to use it in another Kartra asset, and we're going to use it on a Kartra page. If you're going to embed this in something else, then it's going to give you code. But we're just going to embed it in our pages, our landing page that we used, that we created before. And there we go. So congratulations. So now we go back to our page here and register for the Kartra webinar series here. Workshop series. Yeah, okay, that looks good. And again, go through all the the tutorial here. There's some real gold in this tutorial. If you spend the time to read it the first couple of times, you should read all those things. You may not know you need them, but at some point you will need them, and it's good to know. So here's we're going to hook it up to this registration button, and we're going to link up here. And the option right now, it's defaulted not connected to anything. What we're going to connect to is an opt-in form. And here you have a selection of a number of forms that you can use. for fun, I'm going to use this one here. And I'm just going to simplify it. Being able to type helps. And I think where's our, and here it's asking to select the form. We're going to select the form that we just created. The Linear Online Business Workshops. Right, there we go. And now you'll see those fields that we defined. And then here, this is for the section here. And then we can do things like the background style. And we can make it more of our standard. There, we'll make it blue. It can be any color you want as long as it's blue. And then the image here, and we'll choose this one, the little badge that we're using for everything. And how that goes. That was the wrong image. I've led you astray. Unselect. There we go. Let's just see. Oh, that's the image I want to change right there. It's very similar to the page builder. Go through again, search for something if it's not there, or search or use one that you already have. Okay. Anyway, I think that's going to be okay. Again, you can go through and fuss with these to the end of time. I'm going to save this now. Actually, what I'm going to do here is you can preview it. Kartra allows you to preview it, but I'm not sure we're going to lose it in StreamYard about seeing. So I'm going to just return to the dashboard here. Go here, and I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to load up this new page in Kartra, and then we're going to share the page again, share that new one. So here we are. This is the page we just created with the registration form. It could be, there's lots more. It could be longer. It's a little bit narrow for the page value here. But this will demonstrate what we want. And if we do the register now, see, it shows this little pop-up here. And then it's defaulted. Remember, it's the last information that I put in. And then it's going to ask if you want to agree to terms. In the email world, you need to agree to receive correspondence from people. That's what those fields are for. Oh, and I forgot to type in the little CAPTCHA. So ENAB7. And there. And that should take us to the thank you page. And then I can link here and make an appointment with myself. So that's stop sharing. So I'm going to go back here. I'm just going to share my my tab again here. I'll just show you my email. And you'll see that this was the thank you. Thanks for registering. And then that's the email we configured. And this is the one for the masterclass access information. That's in the membership portal and all that thing. And then there's some of the stuff is just notices for me. So that's pretty much it. That's the series to go through, and that we started from scratch with not having anything at all and building a new page, building everything from scratch. And it looks like we've taken just under an hour. It can take a lot less once you have those components already built. You can use cloning and copying in order to get things going. So you have a page that you like. And then you clone it and make the changes. I have a client right now, and he's in a good position where he has customers who want to pay him. And so part of our process is we'll take an existing landing page, we'll clone it, we'll create a new product or whatever it is, attach that, and then send it to the thank you page, and then he's off and running. So we can do that once we have a template for it. We can do that sometimes in 10 or 15 minutes, whereas we took about 15 minutes here to go through the whole thing from scratch. So I hope that's given you some idea about how to do things in Kartra, and that's a simple series of things that you're going to do often in Kartra, and some of the skills like defining welcome emails, creating a page, connecting buttons, all those things are quite common for many things that you want to do in Kartra. Anyway, thank you very much for joining, and we will talk to you soon.